So, so, fun fact, I didn't know about this rumor until I was streaming Final Fantasy X a couple of nights back. And, whenever the rumor was told to me, all of a sudden Rich from Review Tech USA talked about it on his channel. So, whenever I looked into it myself, I was like, this is too broad of a subject for it to be possible, but we'll talk about it because if this was to happen, I would not argue against it because, quite frankly, there's a lot of positive feedback that makes it possibly true. But at the end of the day, it is a rumor. It is not to be taken true. It is not to be literal. It is just, it's there. It's not real. It's not fake. We don't know. There could be a number of possibilities, and it's hard to say right now what it is. So there was a subject that Nintendo brought up where basically they said that they were going to be bringing a dead IP back and be releasing it onto the Nintendo Switch. Now, that is a broad subject. Okay, that's a broad subject because there are multiple dead IPs out there technically. You know, Bubsy was considered one for a long time, and yet it got a sequel for some reason. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it did. It came out again. So it could be a broad subject. There could be a number of games out there that are technically considered to be dead or drop dead, and Nintendo will bring it back. However, though, that's the different story with what rumors are being brought out. Now, the rumor is being stated, and again, it is a rumor. It's a 100% rumor until proven otherwise. We do not have any 100% confirmation by Nintendo or Platinum Games for that matter being stated of what is actually going on. So in other words, there is no other background to confirm this thing. It is just a rumor. But I really would like it to be real if that's the case. So the rumor is that Scalebound will be brought back from the ashes that was made and will be put onto the Nintendo Switch. So I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to argue with it. Having Scalebound on board again would be very nice. I would really like to see that. There are, however, a couple of issues that I have. So, first and foremost, let's just go ahead and kind of brush off what Scalebound is. If you don't know what Scalebound is, I highly recommend you look it up on YouTube and check out the previous trailers that it was supposed to be. And I've talked about it in the past, actually, of how Scalebound was actually canceled and everything like that, and of how it looked just so cool and I was interested in it, and then it got canceled. Now, the problem is that at the time that I made this video, there was a lot of things that was going on that was making it seem like it was one thing or another. There are a number of reasons why people thought that Scalebound was canceled. Apparently for some, it was considered that Microsoft canceled it because they didn't like the final product, or it was Platinum Games that canceled it because they didn't like the final product, or because they had some major technical issues and Microsoft just decided to drop the project entirely because it saw it was taking too long, even though if they were to be patient just enough, they would have had another exclusive for their freaking system. Because trust me whenever I say this, Microsoft, you kind of need some exclusives on your console. And Scalebound was going to be one of those games, and you failed on that, you dumb idiot. Anyway, so, needless to say, the biggest thing is that there were a number of reasons why it got canceled, and it's hard to say what was the ultimate end entirely, but from what not so much 100%, but the majority of the conversation is that the only reason why it got canceled was because they were having hardware difficulty trying to keep the game stable in terms of frame rate. There was a point in time during Scalebound's ultimate making of it where it was going to feature an online co-op mode where you could play with friends and you would ride dragons and fight giant monsters and stuff like that. And again, this looked freaking badass. We just never got to see it fully realized. And another interesting thing about Scalebound was that the director that was making this game, that worked for Platinum Games and everything like that, he wanted this to actually happen. This was basically like Platinum's ultimate game that they wanted to make for a long time. And then it just never got off of his feet. So it's like, that was just disappointing to hear that it got canceled and it just never got realized. And a lot of us thought that we would never see it ever again. But Nintendo lately has been doing a lot of good, actually, when it comes to stuff like this. For example, Bayonetta originally came out for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and there was word going around at the time that we were going to see a Bayonetta 2. However, both Sony and Microsoft didn't want to pick up the license for Bayonetta, so they were like, you know what, no, we're not going to invest in Bayonetta, so screw you. And Platinum Games was like, well, crap, what are we supposed to do? And Nintendo was like, we'll take it! I like to imagine that's what they're doing, is that we'll take it. And they revived Bayonetta and brought it to Nintendo Wii U. So we got to see a Bayonetta 2, which I've heard a lot of people say was really good. I still need to play that. I will eventually sometime soon, but it's hard to say when, but I do want to play that. And weird thing is, we are still hoping to hear more about Bayonetta 3 that's supposed to come out for the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, Bayonetta is basically continuing on itself in a third entry. So Nintendo and Platinum Games are really, really buddy-buddy when it comes to all this. It's like, Platinum Games is like, we have a game that we want to play. Other companies are like, you're taking too long, or it's too much money. Nintendo's like, we'll take it. If you're dedicated about it, we'll take the game. And they're like, okay, we're on board then. So I imagine if Platinum Games really want to see Scalebound become a physical game, Nintendo is going to be that partner they're going to have with, because obviously Nintendo was able to give them the chance to make this game into a reality. Either they help them in terms of hardware limitations, or they're able to help them in terms of funds. Who's to say really right now, but it is because of Nintendo that we got to see Bayonetta 2, and ultimately we're going to be seeing a Bayonetta 3. Hard to say if we're going to see Scalebound if this is real, but here is a problem that I have. So, Xbox One is considered to be a very powerful console. By many gamers, by many programmers and everything like that, they said the Xbox One is considered to be the most powerful freaking console because it rivals that to any PC out there. So, why is Scalebound being put on Nintendo Switch? There's something fishy going on around here, isn't there? It's hard to say what's exactly going on or what could happen, but if Nintendo is wanting to see Scalebound on the Nintendo Switch, it would be nice to see. Obviously, there would have to be a scale down situation where it wouldn't be put on 4K, but maybe that would be enough to help the game out. Maybe scale it down to 1080p, put it into 30 frames or 60 frames per second, and maybe that might help the game a little bit better. Again, it's hard to say ultimately what's going to happen in the future, and again, this is just a rumor. We aren't even for sure if Nintendo's even bringing back Scalebound. For all we know, there could be another dead title that we're not familiar with. For example, what's a good one to say? Blinks. If anyone remember Blinks, it was an Xbox game that came out years ago, and it hasn't seen a sequel since then. It's hard to say because technically it's not really a dead title, considering it just got one for the PlayStation 4, and I believe there was one for the Xbox One, don't quote me on that, but Oddworld series could see a revivalization for the Nintendo Switch. There could be multiple dead titles that Nintendo could bring back, but again, we don't know which one. But this is just one title that a lot of people thought could most likely be seen on the Nintendo Switch, and there's a lot of good things that can be backed up by that theory. Whether or not it's true, it's hard to say right now. So, until we see an actual 100% confirmation that yes, Scalebound will be on Nintendo Switch, and by 100%, I mean either Platinum Games announces it, or Nintendo announces it saying, yes, Scalebound will be released on the Nintendo Switch, here is a trailer. Until we see something like that, it is still considered a rumor. So please consider that it could be a rumor. It is not real. By any stretch of the imagination, it is a rumor. But if it is real, I will be full support of it. Trust me, I would be full support of it. Because, I mean, I was eventually going to get a Nintendo Switch anyway, so this is just one more reason to add on to why I need to get a Nintendo Switch. So, anyway though, I'll see you in the next video.